Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. I'm convinced Pascal's poor Jack Damon decision will lead to Chief Boden's return in Chicago Fire Season 13. I'll be surprised if Boden, Eamon Walker, returns to Firehouse 51 for any reason other than cleaning up the mess that Pascal, Dermot Mulroney, makes in Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 16, titled In the Rubble. When Pascal arrived at Firehouse 51 at the beginning of Chicago Fire Season 13, he clashed with Kidd and Severide because of his desire to run a tighter ship than Boden did, but his behavior in the Rubble undermined any progress he had made in that area. Furthermore, transferring Damon back in will likely make matters worse. Pascal is deep in the throes of grief after Chicago Fire's Violet tells him about Monica's death. This leads him to act uncharacteristically impulsively, putting himself and others in the firehouse at risk. When Severide confronts him about his erratic behavior, which escalates to stalking the man he blames for his wife's death, Pascal finally sees what he's been doing and apologizes. However, he also makes the head-scratching decision to allow Damon to transfer back in despite his reservations about it, and those of his crew. Pascal has a harder time dealing with his grief than he admits throughout Chicago Med Season 10, Episode 16. Although he claims that his 2 weeks leave has done him so good, Pascal is triggered when the crew is called to the scene of a workplace accident and makes the uncharacteristic decision to risk his life to rescue a victim. This impulsive and risky behavior raises eyebrows among the crew. Unfortunately, it also leads to a string of other questionable choices. Thus, by the time Pascal decides to greenlight Damon's return, he's been self-destructing for most of the episode. No one is willing to confront him until his behavior gets so severe that they have no choice. Pascal okays Damon's return after Severide calls Pascal out on stalking the driver who killed Monica. While Pascal's decision could be read as giving Severide's half-brother another chance because Severide did something for him, it's equally likely that he thinks Severide won't escalate his complaints up the chain of command if Pascal does him this favor. Chicago Fire's Chief Boden will return on April 16, 2025 in a story where he arrives at Firehouse 51 after the fact to investigate why a house collapsed, trapping a firefighter inside during an intense call. I'm excited about this story for several reasons. Among other things, Firehouse 51 must be responsible for this disastrous call if Boden is starting his investigation there. Thus, Pascal will be held accountable for any missteps Boden discovers during his investigation, including hiring somebody who has a history of reckless behavior during rescues. The disaster in Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 18 seems like the natural consequence of Pascal's judgment continuing to be clouded by his grief. Specifically, rehiring Damon could lead to problems that wouldn't occur otherwise. Damon's transfer was the result of his refusal to follow orders during rescue missions and his attempt to lie his way out of trouble after a call went badly because of it. If Damon continues to act recklessly, it can only lead to the tragic circumstances Boden must investigate. And Pascal is partially to blame because he rehired Damon without thinking things through. When Chicago Fire introduced Jack Damon, the ambitious and often reckless firefighter portrayed by Michael Bradway, fans immediately noticed a contrast between his approach to firefighting and the leadership styles that Firehouse 51 had been accustomed to. Over the years, Chief Wallace Boden provided a steady, guiding force that held the team together through its toughest times. But with Boden's departure, leadership gaps have begun to emerge, and it's becoming increasingly clear that Pascal's decision to elevate Damon to a more prominent role in Season 12 could have serious consequences that could ultimately necessitate Boden's return in Season 13. From the moment Damon stepped into the firehouse, his methods raised eyebrows. While undeniably skilled, his overconfidence and impulsivity put both his colleagues and himself at risk. His desire to prove himself led to several close calls, and by the mid-season mark of Season 12, it became apparent that his approach was not just reckless, it was dangerous. Kelly Severide, one of the most experienced firefighters in the house, frequently clashed with Damon, pointing out his lack of regard for protocols. Even Kidd, who had initially seen potential in Damon, grew wary of his unpredictable nature. But it wasn't just the firehouse veterans who noticed the problem. The impact of Damon's presence rippled throughout Firehouse 51, creating fractures in team dynamics. The younger firefighters, particularly those who had looked up to Boden's leadership, struggled to adjust to a firehouse that seemed to be operating without the same level of discipline and unity. Pascal, in attempting to fill Boden's shoes with someone who embodied raw energy rather than seasoned wisdom, had made a critical error. By the end of Season 12, this decision culminated in a near-catastrophic event. In what should have been a routine rescue, Damon ignored a direct order from Captain Casey, opting to take an alternative, and far riskier, approach. While the rescue was successful, the move resulted in a severe injury to another firefighter. The fallout was immediate. Severide and Casey, both furious, confronted Pascal, questioning his judgment and allowing Damon to continue operating with such recklessness. Kid, usually measured in her responses, was equally vocal about the growing discontent in the firehouse. The tension within Firehouse 51 reached its boiling point in the finale, when Pascal was forced to acknowledge that his gamble on Damon had backfired, and with the house in disarray, rumors began to swirl. Would Firehouse 51 need a stabilizing force to bring back order? Would the only person capable of restoring balance be Chief Boden? Season 13 is shaping up to be a crucial turning point for Chicago Fire. If Boden makes his long-awaited return, it won't just be a matter of nostalgia, it will be a necessity. Pascal's poor decision regarding Damon has left the firehouse in a precarious position, and the showrunners have cleverly set up the narrative for Boden's grand re-entry. Fans have already speculated that Eamon Walker, who plays Boden, might return in a significant capacity, and this storyline provides the perfect justification. Boden's leadership style has always been about fostering unity, respect, and discipline. He doesn't just manage his firefighters, he mentors them. His absence has been deeply felt, and with Firehouse 51 struggling under Damon's influence, his return could serve as a powerful reminder of what true leadership looks like. Whether it's reinstating order, mentoring a wayward Damon, or simply reminding the house of the values that made them a family, Boden's presence is the missing piece that Firehouse 51 desperately needs. Moreover, bringing Boden back would have a profound emotional impact on the characters. Severide, who has always respected Boden, would likely be one of the first to welcome his return. Kid, who has been grappling with the changes in leadership, would find solace in his guidance, and even Pascal, realizing the extent of his misjudgment, might come to understand that some roles can only be filled by those with the wisdom and experience to handle them. Pascal's poor Jack Damon decision may have initially seemed like an attempt to inject fresh energy into the series, but it has only reinforced the importance of seasoned leadership. As Season 13 looms, it's becoming increasingly evident that the only way forward is to bring back the one person who can truly right the ship, Chief Wallace Boden.